Hello. We're back again on your favorite program where we tell it like it is and let the chips fall where the bloody hell may. And as we say all the time, folks, truth crashed to earth shall rise again. We haven't finished though. We have made all our promises to the Jandam Association of Ghana. We are going to counter your lies. We're going to suffocate Jandam with the truth. Trust me. And the question that everybody is going to ask at this particular juncture, Ghana for at this juncture. I don't know what a juncture is, but Ghana for paper. So at this juncture, let me say the question that everybody is asking is what time is it? And the answer is nation time. Nation time. Folks, today I'm just going to make let me just express my thoughts and my feelings in the rant because I don't have anything particular. But trust me, folks, few things are happening. You know, I saw this video of Fifi Kwete, who made a very, very interesting, should I say, allegations or pronouncements, because believe it or not, what he says, in a way, even indicts the Attorney General of Ghana. You know, because the impression he gave is that there are some members of the NDC who are doing deals with those who are accused of looting so that whatever arrangements can be made be something that doesn't sit well, man. But few quickly said it.
And Attorney General, I'm sure the pressure is mounting. We at the level of the party are picking the signals. And the signals we are picking is this: that many among us, in spite of the fact that pleas and the pressure coming from the public that things have to be done properly, punishment must be exacted, and things have to be done, some among us are busy trying to cut deals with people who are supposed to be prosecuted. Some among us are trying to cut deals. Some are becoming conduits through whom pressure is being brought to bear on people who are supposed to do what is right. I'm not mentioning names. A time may come where we may have to. A word to the wise. Some know themselves, those who are. We are hearing your names. Think again. Because this victory was achieved largely because the people of Ghana wanted the right things done. Not for deals to be cut. For them to say, okay, now that we are on the other side, we cut deals so that tomorrow you also can get a deal cut. No, it won't happen.
Let me say on the record, I've called him, I've invited him. I really wanted him in my studio to come and really so that we can really digest the issue and understand. But for whatever reason, his schedule has not allowed him to be here. If you're listening, whenever you want to come, you can come after the platform is here. But statements he made are very, very, very interesting, you know. Do you know why they are interesting? You know what ORAL stands for, right? Operation Recover All Loot. Operation Recover All Loot. But based on what Fifi has said, Oral is starting to have a different explanation. It's not Operation Recover All Loot, but it seems to be Operation Reward All the Looters. It's no more recovering, but rewarding them. Why do I say reward? Because if somebody actually steals from the country, there's still so much money that becomes a campaign promise that we will recover this loot when we come. And it happens that nobody is really seeing top. We know they see top. How is this recovery thing going? Are they recovering? What is happening? And then in the midst of all of that, to hear that people have been allowed to do plea bargains so that they can walk away with their crime, then becomes Operation Reward All the Looters. But I'm begging the head of state Excellency John Dramani Mahama. If this is true, if it is true, then please crack what they call the whip. If it is true, and if it's not true too, I don't know why Fifi Kwete will just really blurt this out unless he knows the truth. The nice Bibisu. He's standing on something. Fifi, name and shame. That's the rule, that's the name of the agenda. Name and shame, Fifi Kwete. If you know of people in the NDC who are sort of cutting deals to reward the looters, please name and shame them, because we can't take this thing for a joke anymore. You know, I mean, unfortunately, NDC, you made this a campaign issue and you drove it so hard that everybody was like, yeah, Charlie, they should come. We have to recover the loot. This country is if you were broke, we are not paying our debts, and then we learn that the amount of loot that has taken place in this country is more than the debt we owe. Then people get fired up, say, Mahama, wakayate, please come and go for them, recover the loot. But if Fifi, what you're saying is right, then it's like we are rewarding the looters. Somebody told me, KSM, listen, there's no point getting them, putting them in jail, and then spending money on them while in jail, you know. So that's why there's a plea bargain, because there's no point after they've looted the state to put them in jail and then the state has to take care of them. There's no point. I'm saying this, no. If there's evidence that you have looted illegally, and if you don't want to spend too much time because you don't want me in jail, then everybody should go for 3 months or 1. Something must happen. Some punitive measure must happen. Otherwise, what they have done will be nothing but rewarding. So, Mr. Fifi Kwete, wherever you are, I'm sure you're listening. If you would like to come back and name and shame and come back and give us some more details, this platform is there for you. We have reached out to you several times, and you know, but at the same time, I can't blame you. You know whatever schedule you have that has not permitted you to come here. But folks, listen to this. And especially President Mahama. People are counting on you. People are counting on you. There were some people who thought that, oh, it's not going to go anywhere. I told you a policeman who stopped me one time in traffic and said, KSM, I was discussing this with some of my friends, and they were saying, Kusi baby, which means all the oral thing, right, will not amount to anything. That's what they thought. And that's a prevailing idea out there, that it won't amount to anything. So when Fifi comes out with this revelation, then people start saying, but we say kind. We were right. But Mr. President, I hope we will give the chance for anybody to say we were right, because we are not expecting anything. Please, please, put your foot down and deal with this case. It is Operation Recover All Loot, not Operation Reward All the Looters. So this is something I really want to put out there, that what we are hearing, people are not too happy. And I've said this time and time again, that the ace card that Mahama played in this whole campaign thing was a promise to Ghanaians that we will deal with those who have looted this country.
We will launch an Operation Recover All the Loot to investigate, prosecute, and recover the proceeds of corruption. To investigate, prosecute, and recover the proceeds of corruption, no person found culpable will be spared. But let me say that the sword of accountability will cut both ways, against both past and the present government.
So please, keep that promise. Keep that promise so that it doesn't become like it was something that you threw out there just for campaign. Because let me say this, I know you really mean well in terms of resetting Ghana. You mean well. It's an agenda that you are determined to do to reset the country. But trust me, The greatest resetting will be knowing that finally in Ghana, people who have robbed the nation, people who are looting, will be dealt with by the law. I think people are a little bit frustrated that nothing seems to be happening. And you have communicators. If things are happening that people don't know, then please communicate it. That this is what we have done, this is who we have arrested. Let's place the emphasis on what we have done to people and how much we have recovered and how much, even if it's a small time, they will spend in jail. But I can understand where people's frustrations are coming from, and I can only appeal that we don't change the recover to reward, because we have to get the loot, and those who have looted have to face the music. When we were listening to a black choir before the election, he had cataloged over 2,000 cases of loot.
We received 1,493 calls through the toll-free line, 1,493. We also received 924 emails. Fortunately, all of these calls are recorded automatically, and all the emails have also been preserved for verification and validation. So in total, the number of complaints received amounts to 2,417. So those who had any doubt about how relevant and how timely the president's intervention was at the time, this is your evidence. 2,417 complaints received. Where will all of these people have gone if President Mahama had not set up the oral preparatory team? We want to conclude with some fascinating figures. The 36 cases that we have reviewed in detail, if we are successful in recoveries, we can retrieve as much as 20.49 billion United States dollars. 20.49 billion United States dollars. 36 cases, and that's from National Cathedral, PDS, SML. You have the GMPC salt pond decommissioning. There's a great deal of resources belonging to the taxpayers that can be retrieved. Then we've also done an estimate of the state capture, the lands. If we successfully ask people to pay conservative market value for the lands they have looted, again, the experts are telling us that we can recover about 702.8 million United States dollars for the Ghanaian people. That's if we just ask people, those who were paying 42,000 cedis, 120,000 cedis, 160,000 cedis, to pay the fair market value. Those are lands that $500,000, $600,000, you will even struggle to get cantonments land at that figure. So very conservative estimates. We take the view that if people are asked to pay the real market value, this is how much we can retrieve. So in all, just a summary, the 36 cases, the high amount cases that we put together, and then the land loot, potentially we can raise about 21.19 billion United States dollars. And that is far more than what we have been chasing the IMF for and subjecting ourselves to all kinds of conditionalities.
So you can understand why people are feeling somewhat frustrated that after the election that you won so beautifully, the loot recovery in Philly, people are not feeling the loot recovery. I mean, sort of seeing reward, nobody really understands. Over 2,000 cases. How many of them have been resolved in any way? How many of them are we talking about now? 2,000 cases. That's a lot. That's a lot. And if the zeal of the people was behind you because we wanted to go out and actually support you, be behind you to get the 2,000, then please, over 2,000, and yes, it's a real lot. And let me tell you part of the frustration, you know. I mean, before the election, names were mentioned. Names were mentioned. We heard about Wontumi and all he's doing in the forest and destroying the forest. We had names. naming and shaming of people who are looting. We hate them. So after the election, all seems quiet. Even the famous or infamous woman that was named and shamed has even the audacity that, oh, don't worry, me will be contesting for the chairmanship of a political party.
I'm a MPP Nibio. I am Munti, and I'm a Conasa chairman. I am Munti, and I'm a Conasa chairman.
Really? So the people have the right to ask, now, wasn't this man that was named and shamed, was that a lie? Was that a ploy to bring some people out there and rile up people, the Ghanaians, that these people are doing us harm, and we will come and we will make sure that we do the right thing? All of a sudden, nobody really sees. For me, I don't know. This whole deal with the national service thing, with people that allegedly have ghost names and have made millions and millions and millions.
Current Minister of Finance, the Honorable Dr. KCL Atuforsen, ordered a head count of all national service personnel as a precondition for the disbursement of arrears of allowances payable to the personnel dating back to August 2024. It was discovered that around 885 were ghost names. Our investigations have revealed a sprawling criminal enterprise whose network covers the entire country. This criminal enterprise was run by top-level executives of the National Service Authority and their accomplices in the private sector, known as vendors or service providers. This criminal enterprise resulted in the siphoning of huge sums of public funds into private pockets. In total, we can confirm from our evidence on the docket and from interrogations that a whopping 548,333,542 cedis and 65 pesos, over 548 million Ghana cedis, to the criminal enterprise perpetrated by these executives, these directors and staff, as well as the service providers in the marketplace.
All of a sudden, I don't hear anything. Maybe if you're hearing it, just write it in the comments. Okay, so we haven't heard it, but this and this and this is what has happened. We're not hearing it, you know? We're talking about Rubuahin. He has how many millions or thousands of houses, whatever, the wife.
The investigations also established that the proceeds from the suspect's activities were used to buy significant landed properties and other assets of considerable value both in Ghana and elsewhere. We have number 2 Stream Park Drive, Mayfair Estates, LA, that is Accra. For that, they deposited, and we have the deposit slip as well as the receipt from the estate developer, $1 million United States of American dollars. Number 6, Edith Avenue, Mayfair Estates, Accra. Deposit 500,000 United States of America. That's American dollars. That's the initial deposit. All right. Then we have number 7, Edith Avenue, Mayfair, 200,000 United States of American dollars deposited for the property. Number 8, Edith Avenue, Mayfair Estates, Accra, 97,815 United States of American dollars was deposited for that property. But we are sure that other cash payments were made to complete the purchase and then the transfer of ownership. So we are tracing all those documents. Number 9, Edith Avenue, Mayfair Estate, 270,000 United States of American dollars deposited, initial deposit for the purchase. Number 10, Edith Avenue, Mayfair Estates, Accra, 150,000 United States of American dollars deposited. Now he also owns a company known as Vertex Properties. Vertex Properties, and we've traced the proceeds of crime to Vertex Properties also. They have, Vertex Properties owns 27 houses located at Oyarifa. Each house cost, an estimated cost of 295 United States of American dollars. We also know that they have 2 properties in London that we are tracking, and I'm going to trigger the legal assistance between the United Kingdom and Ghana for us to be able to lay hands on those, properties.
Noise was made. Kusi Boateng, they said he had a double identity and he was part of the whole fraudulent thing with the National Cathedral. He has a double identity, like I just said.
I have discovered that Reverend Kusi Boateng, he has 7 companies in the name Kusi Boateng, and then 8 companies in the name Kwabena Edujemfi. Can you believe that?
Is it?
So he has multiple identity cards with different names, different dates of birth. Interestingly, when his church and family members were celebrating his 50th birthday last year, and prominent Ghanaians went there and all of that, his own passport, his current passport, which he travels with now, he says he was born 30th December 1969. He was 50 years, like 3 years ago. And 2 years before, they were celebrating him based on what he has told them, what is on his website. So different dates of birth. That's fraudulent. Different mothers. So it's not as if, I've repented and born again, have reserved one 10 years ago or 5 years ago, I haven't returned to it. No, as we speak, currently, he is serving on the board of trustees of the National Cathedral of Ghana as Kusi Boateng. And yet, he's traveling, his diplomatic passport is Kwabena Edujemfi. He has multiple companies, 15 companies now, 8 in the name of Kwabena Edujemfi, 7 in the name of Victor Kusi Boateng. It's not allowed.
What happened? They're still the same old people, preaching in their churches and doing things as usual. So the question is, and Charlie, this is a very tough one, man. Was this just a way to rile people up? I hope not, and I don't think so. But the only way we can know that it was not just a ploy is to make sure that we see, it should make sure that we feel that the government is really, really, really bent on naming and shaming the people who have looted this country and then moving on from there. But right now, you shouldn't feel it. Now, after having said all of that, and I'm hoping that this question that I've raised will be answered, Look, it's very, very important, Your Excellency. It's very, very important that we back you. So long as you are talking about resetting Ghana, so long as you are talking about giving Ghanaians a new positive mindset that is focused on building this nation.
But there is hope on the horizon. Today should mark the beginning of a new opportunity. An opportunity for us to make a difference in our governance and our economic management. We shall reset our dear nation, Ghana.
Then you require the support of everybody. I was very happy when I read something Mpanim has said. Mpanim is a founding father of the MPP. Very, 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 very astute politician, articulate, and deeply rooted in the MPP. I was very happy when he made a statement recently that he is happy, but there was no way he could have imagined that any new party will come into power and for about 8 months work on the currency, which seems to be gaining grounds. No scandals left, right, and center. So Mpanim actually said, I am impressed by that accomplishment. And this is what I want to recommend about it. Mpanim died the whole MPP. But at the same time, more than MPP, he's Ghanaian. That's what we talk about nation building on. It's not about your party, it's about the nation. So it doesn't matter if there's a party in power that seems to be in the group doing good things. They need our support to move. You know, so Mpanim, I mean, I always respected you and the idea that from Titi, I've always respected you, but I think my respect has shot up because it took a lot of bravery to come and admit that you are impressed with what is going on. Because as you know, many of your colleagues who are coming from that same background will not even dare to acknowledge the success, much more praise the success. So Mpanim, thank you very much. Thank you for showing Ghana that the nation should be placed first. You know something very interesting, the nation must be placed first. You know, we are Ghanaians, okay? I'm a Ghanaian, so that is the key thing. I'm a Ghanaian, I may just happen to be a lawyer, but I'm a Ghanaian. But I just happen to be a lawyer or happen to be an entertainer, but I'm a Ghanaian. It's not the other way around. Like, oh, me, I'm a lawyer, but I happen to be a Ghanaian. You know, wherever you are, lawyer, architect, businessman, whatever it is, you are Ghanaian, but you happen to be a doctor. You happen to be a painter. You happen to be so-and-so, but you're Ghanaians. Mpanim has proved that he is Ghanaian. He just happens to be one of the founders of the MPP. But we're Ghanaian. So to that effect, if things are going on right in the country, he comes out and really acknowledges it and hopes that things stay right, because that's the next big part. That things should stay right. You know what I'm saying? Now let me give you a little bit of worry that sometimes I have. And the worry is not so much about anything, but you know these Western powers, America, France, UK, these Western powers, they are in a situation where, whether we like it or not, they are not interested in our success as a nation. They are not, too. If you think that Ghana has done something and the World Bank is so very happy and they are praising them, nothing like that. They're just coaxing us so that we rely on them, because the more we rely on them, the better it is for them. Don't think it's a joke. When the IMF gives you a loan, do you think is out of the kindness and out of the love for Ghana? Oh, let's help Ghana out with this loan. No! They are making so much money back out of the loan that they have given you. And that's the thing. So it is not in their interest for a country like Ghana or any country in the so-called third world to stand up and take things into their own hands. It is not in their interest. Folks, they did it to Kwame Nkrumah. Kwame Nkrumah was too dynamic, and they were afraid that the agenda that he was setting down was a total liberation of the mindset for Africans and all the black people. And they didn't like that. They were afraid of that. I tell you this story of when I went to my freshman year, my history professor, may he rest in peace, is called Professor Steele. He's an American professor, white man. And he told me something that I'll never forget. He says, KSM, I wasn't called KSM, I was a Kweku. I was very, very happy when Nkrumah was overthrown, because he was a threat to us. When he says us, he's talking about American or the Western world in general. He says he was a threat to us. So I was very, very happy when he was overthrown. But my shock was to see Ghanaians still rejoicing. And I said, yeah, that's cool black for you. He was happy as an American. Said, Akwawe, he's so pro-black, he's so pan-African. He wants to enlighten all black people all over the world. Even the blacks in the US were starting to get enlightened by his spirit and demeanor, and by winning independence for Ghana. So he was such an influence that, of course, they saw him as a threat. So the white man told me, for me, I was happy when you overthrew him, because he was a threat to me or his race. But my shock was the way Ghanaians rejoiced when he was overthrown. Do you know what happened? We threw Nkrumah under the bus. Not literally. This is an American expression. When they say somebody has been thrown under the bus, it means we have betrayed the person. We have sacrificed a person. When you have let's say a corporate setting, and one person who is very, very dynamic and is doing things, and maybe the boss undermines him and have the person sacked, he has thrown him under the bus. When you sacrifice somebody like that, it means you have thrown him under the bus. That's what we did to Nkrumah. We threw him under the bus. After the coup, we celebrated and enjoyed, because in our minds, Ghana was now free. Whereas in true terms, Ghana was now recolonized. And the Westerns have taken back the country as they want it. So we have to be very, very careful. And one of the things that worries me too is this. Folks, unless we get up and back our leaders and make sure that our leaders succeed, the same thing will happen. Every leader in Africa that was progressive and that was looking for the good of their country, they overthrew. They overthrew and killed Patrice Lumumba because now Kwani a nationalist. They overthrew Thomas Sankara. You know, now everybody they overthrew is a leader who is trying to mobilize his own people to be in a position where they can take after their own country and build their country. When you do that, you are a threat to the Western world. Why? Because they like to leave you as you are, ignorant, dumb. They like to leave you as you are so that you always believe that, oh, they are very nice people, they have come here to give us aid. And so let's respect them and worship them because they are bringing us aid. And that is what they love. They don't like any leader who is trying to build their country and saying, no, we can't, we have to stop depending on you. Let us build ourselves. When you do that, it's a no-no for them. Yempe. Now, let me tell you something, folks. Whether we like it or not, whether the president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, is aware or not, they are not that fond of him. I'm telling you today. If he's listening to, I'm telling you, President, they are not that fond of you. Because you have come saying that you want to change the minds of the people. You want to reset the country. You want to take control over your own natural resources. Even the mining licenses, you have said that the renewal is no longer automatic. We will review before renew. And things like that. I'm on bet. They don't like that. So I just want you to be aware that John Dramani Mahama, I don't think you are such a big fan of them. You are not. You are not. You and any other African leader that is determined to build their country, you're not a fan. Traore is the most recent example. Do you think they love him? Oh, no. They will do whatever they can to remove Traore from the way, because when Traore is set away, then it gives them direct access to what they want. There was a book written long ago. It's called How Europe Underdeveloped Africa. Find it and read it. It was written by one Walter Rodney. How Europe Underdeveloped Africa. And he makes a very interesting statements in there, a very interesting comparison, you know, that during the era of the slave trade, as they were taking away strong Africans, men and women, tough Africans, and they were all taken away from Africa, two things were happening. Africa was being depleted of the human capacity and resource that we had. We were being depleted. And at the same time, the West and Europe was benefiting from the slaves. Go to the US and you see all these beautiful, amazing subways, and they are built and everything. It was all slave labor. So while they were benefiting from the slave labor, at the same time, Africa was suffering from the lack of human resource that had been depleted to be taken away. So the slaves are here building, and we Africans are there, you know. The only sad part of the slave trade is this. Some of us Africans were complicit in it. There were chiefs in Africa that will go to wars and during the wars, when they won the wars, the slaves that they took were given to the white folks. So the sad part is that some of us helped in the slave trade. As much disgusting as it was, it's something that we don't want to talk about, but that is the truth. Some of us helped in the slave trade. And here's the thing, we are still doing that. It is some of us that have positioned ourselves to help the Chinese to do the galamsey. We give them the lands. We show them where the gold is. We show them how we are set up. It is some of us, we Ghanaians, we black people, who are conniving with our oppressors to oppress and steal and rob and kill. We are playing an active role in that. And that's the same thing we have been doing from slave trade. Today, we are still doing it. We sold Kwame Nkrumah to them so that they could have a coup that we all got out to rejoice. And I'm saying this, I'm not saying that they're going to have a coup against Mahama or anything, but I'm saying everything they can do to make Ghanaians suffer. And they know that if Ghanaians are made to suffer, their anger is going to be directed to the leader. I feel the Ghana for quite a bread, Mahama quite a day. But it's being engineered from the boardrooms of Washington and other places, folks. So that's why I say, Mahama, I worry because they do not exactly support you. Do you know why? Because the fact is, you are not as dynamic and a crusader like Kwame Nkrumah, but you know, in your own way, you exhibit some Nkrumah-ish tendencies. You do, and they don't like that. They don't. They do all that they can to make sure that they derail your agenda. Were you not surprised after you went to Singapore and Japan and you spoke with people and you got investors interested in Ghana because one of the things you sold them was a lesson, we are back on track. We are building our nation.
We're open for business, and Simon and Co are busy at work reviewing the Ghana Investment Promotion Center Act. Some barriers were put to foreign investment. You had to prove that you had brought in a certain amount of money to be classified as a foreign investor. In the reviewed Ghana Investment Promotion Center Act, we're removing those minimal capital investments. This will enable any investor, however little money you have, $100,000, $50,000, to be able to come in and set up a business in Ghana.
Singapore is a beacon of excellence in transforming strategic infrastructure into national competitiveness. Ghana views Singapore as a partner whose discipline, innovation, and long-term thinking aligns with our own aspirations. Today, I invite you to join us in a practical partnership to accelerate Ghana's infrastructure for economic transformation, and through Ghana to help shape the next chapter of growth across West Africa under the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. And the question you ask is, why Ghana and why now? We're a regional hub, and Accra hosts the African Continental Free Trade Area Secretariat and is developing the logistics, standards, and digital infrastructure to serve a market of about 1.4 billion people with over USD 3.4 trillion gross domestic product. Therefore, using Ghana as a hub, you can efficiently and competitively reach an ECOWAS market of over 400 million people in a shorter time frame. We're pursuing a reform path with predictability, We're strengthening macro stability and fiscal discipline. We're modernizing our revenue systems and applying clear rules-based frameworks for public-private partnerships and private capital. We've amended our public procurement law and streamlined approvals under the Ghana Investment Promotion Center Act to provide fast and transparent pathways for investment. Under my leadership, Ghana will be a trusted, open, and reliable investment partner.
So you sold Ghana, and interesting enough, you got people who were interested and made pledges of investment to Ghana. They don't like that. They don't like that. So don't be surprised if all of a sudden, out of the blue, these same people that were praising Ghana, oh, your currency is great, is performing well, blah, 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 blah. All of a sudden, that tune will change. You watch. Very soon, they're going to change. Oh, it wasn't even doing that great. There was manipulation. There was this, there was that. All in the interest of undermining the one thing that makes you strong, JDM. And that's the way. I call that the international gendarme. Please do your research go on research and find out what the Western media was writing about Nkrumah in the 60s. I think it was the New York Times, I don't remember the date or whatever, but they actually published that Nkrumah's affiliation with Russia is very worrying. It was worrying them. They also made several statements that this whole idea of African unity does not sit well with them. So I'm saying this, JDM, you're not exactly the fiery Nkrumahist, but you have Nkrumahist tendencies, which they don't like. Look at the Sahel, look at Traore, Guinea, Mali, or Niger, all those places that seem to be in conflict with ECOWAS, because things got so bad that the army took over these countries, you know. And let me say this for a fact, Ghanaians, in the whole of Africa, when you look at the Sahel states where armies took over, the only country that they respect and really, really hope that they get their support from is Ghana. Maybe you don't know why Ghana, Mahama is very into the Sahel, you know, countries, and he's even appointed Bivlolati to be a special ambassador to the Sahel regions. He's the only permanent block between ECOWAS and the Sahel. And watch it. He is the one that's going to bridge that gap. But at the end of the day, all I'm saying is that all this adds to Pan-Africanism, all this adds to African unity, all these adds to strengthening Africa, and they don't like it. And I'm just saying that they don't like it so that all of us Ghanaians become aware that they have positioned themselves eventually that they would like to do Mahama in. I don't have any doubts in my mind. Please quote that I said this. I'm not quoting any sources. I'm saying that there's no doubt in my mind that they would love to do Mahama in. And the only way they will do him in is to use our own people, as they have always done. Use our own people. Do you know when Nkrumah started building Akosombo Dam? Very respected Ghanaian professor, very, very respected. Is one time the Prime Minister of Ghana. He's called Dr. K.A. Buzia, Kofi Abrefa Buzia. During the Nkrumah years, at one point, he went to exile. Do you know that Kofi Abrefa Buzia went to Congress, U.S. Congress, to testify? He went to Congress to testify that America should stop giving Ghana aid. Why? Because they say, according to him, he said, if you don't stop giving the aid, he's going to turn Ghana. This whole thing about Akosombo Dam was nothing but a ploy to turn Ghana into a communist state. He went to testify right in the Congress of the US. Those of you who doubt, you go and check the U.S. congressional hearings, and I'm sorry I don't remember the date, but I can tell you it was somewhere between 62 and 66. It was before the coup. Testify, said, don't give Ghana aid. That's us, folks. Yeah, we will sell ourselves out. We will push Mahama under the bus, and be trampled on. For how long? We saw it happen to Nkrumah. We saw it because he was our leader, so we saw it. There were others too that happened to, but we didn't see because we were not in their countries. But I'm saying this, Ghana, let us support GDM with this whole agenda to reset our minds and back him to do the right thing. If we don't, and we decide to throw him under the bus, they'll be very, very happy to. Beyond the crowd, they give us all the aid. Have you realized that the U.S. has cut off all aid to Ghana as I speak? Yeah. There's been a loan and non-payment sitting in their books since the time of the MPP. It's been sitting in their books. They wait for this administration to come, and now they say we aren't giving any more aid because you owe us. I'm saying, sir, we have owed them from Tete. Why now? Think about it. Why now? But let's move on. The U.S. says it is cutting off all aid to Ghana. You know, whatever happened, I don't know. You know, there was a time where they wrote to Ghana to threaten us that we should pay our debts and stop going to China and all of that, you know. And our black took offense and also gave it to them. Yeah. Give it to left, right, and center, you know. I don't know if that is what was the genesis of now the agenda. Say these people, they are getting too intelligent for our liking. They're getting too radical. They're talking about don't play with our sovereignty. If you're a sovereign country, then watch this. I'm going to withhold my aid. The same thing they did to Kwame Nkrumah, and they have done to us. And you watch that you find people in Ghana who will start jubilating. Ghanaians will jubilate and celebrate the fact that the US says they are blocking us from any more aid. So folks, all I'm saying today, let them block it. Maybe now that Mahama is talking about resetting, maybe this is the first test case. Quote unquote, I'm going to reset my country. After Ghanaians thinking right, let's do the right thing, let's move in the right direction. So now, okay, we'll cut off all aid and you see what happens. So folks, that's all I know. But I'm calling on all Ghanaians, I'm calling on the government, I'm calling on the business, I'm calling on everybody. Let's say, Charlie. Let's say, Charlie. I feel the aid in the crowd. Ghana, let's find a way to cope with this. We have very, 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 very many intelligent Ghanaians in this country who I'm sure, if they are not partisan, but they are Ghanaians before anything, they can bring and put their minds together for Ghana to overcome this setback that some people are hoping for. It's a very good test case for John Dramani Mahama. You know, that after coming and working on the currency and things seems to be on the right trajectory, and what you need now is the support to keep that trajectory going. All of a sudden, there are stories about the city crying, is not that strong. There are stories about this and that, and then there's stories about we have cut off our aid. I'm telling you, they never liked it to begin with. And when you got up to, you didn't go to the US or the UK to go and beg. You're in Japan and Singapore. They don't like that. They don't like that. Folks, so two things basically. I've talked. But the main thing I've talked about, number one, is oral. Let us not turn recovery into rewarding. Please, That's the first thing that I talked about. And number two, let us not throw him under the bus. Let's not sacrifice everything that he intends to do. And Fifi Kwete, whenever you get a chance and you feel it's time to come on this show and talk and name and shame, the door is always open. But until then, folks, Ghana is not going to be an easy fight. If we have decided that we are building this nation, we have to know that that is not good news for the West. Who's the nation saying? So you stop begging me? Who's the nation so that what you do, you get to a point where you don't need my aid? I will make sure it doesn't happen. And I start by cutting off aid to you right now. So Ghana, for the ball is in your court. Mr. President, the ball is in your court. What are the options we have? Do we go and beg back for the aid, or do we invigorate our people to stand up and prove to the world, as Nkrumah said some time ago, that when the black man is given a chance, he can prove to the whole world that he's capable of managing his own affairs. Time new. Let us prove to the world that we are capable of managing our own affairs. Anyway, thank you very much for listening, and catch up with you again soon when we give you more fillers on how we can make this country rise again. But whatever I say, I know that no matter what, Ghana shall rise again.